Hello, I'm Mike from WiseOnlineLearning.com, and today I'm using Excel 2007 to show you our Magic Graph paper tip on how to split text across columns in Excel. So an example where you might want to use this technique would be if you've got first and second names together in one cell and you'd like to split those names across two separate columns. So in my example here, cell A1 has got the text Donald Duck in it, and I'd like Donald to be left in cell A1 and then the word duck to be in cell B1, and at the moment nothing's in there, and I'd like it to be done quickly for the whole of my column of cartoon names, some of whom you may well recognise. So first of all, I want to select all the names that I want to split. So I've selected my first name here in cell A1. I'm doing the easy thing, using a keyboard shortcut now to hold the Control and Shift key down together and then use the down pointing arrow to go to the end of my list of names. There it is selected. Only a small list, as you can see. So with my name selected now, I'm going to click on the tab for data. So the ribbon appears here on the data tab, and there's a button in there called text to columns. And that's the one I'm going to use. So I click on text to columns and it brings up a small wizard, and the item here says delimited, which I'm going to leave as my selection. And at the bottom of the screen you can see there's a preview of how the names look at the moment. Just one column with the names in. If I click on the next button here, it takes me to another preview screen where there is, on my case this one, the tab option selected. These boxes down here are for you to choose which character or characters are used within your cell to separate the words. So in my example, Donald and Duck are separated by a space. So I click on the tick box here for space. And as soon as I do that, you'll see the preview screen now is showing the names split into two separate columns. And for my purposes, that's all I need. So I click on the finish button, and back to the sheet here now, you can see Donald is on its own in cell A1 and Duck is on its own in cell B1, and that pattern's repeated all the way down my list. So as an extension of that idea now, we have another little list here, which is a slightly more complicated list. It's a list of composers for film and a film that each one has composed music for. I've clicked in cell A1 and you have Danny Elfman, and his name is separated with a space, and then after Elfman there's a comma, after the comma there's another space, and then there's Batman, the name of the film he wrote the music for. So splitting those is slightly more complicated than before. I've just selected the list of names there, did it by the mouse and dragging this time. Go to data, click on text to columns again. I'm going to leave it as delimited as before. Here's my preview. Go to the next button, and in the next button, say the default setting tends to be the tab. My preview area here is showing the text in one cell, one column effectively. And over to the right hand side here, that we can see this, I've deselected it. It's normally selected by default, but it says treat consecutive delimiters as one, and Excel will try to sort that for you. And it means that if, as in our case, there's a comma and a space next to each other, you don't really want two columns there. You just want one separator effectively from the two marks that are separators on their own. So in my list here, just to show you, if I click on comma first of all, take tab out. So I've clicked on comma, and there we see in the preview the comma is separating the film names from the composer name. If I click on space now, you'll see that this text box has automatically been selected, Excel did it itself, which is quite clever. If I take the tick out of there, you'll see that in the preview at the bottom there's a blank column, because after the names of the composers there's a comma and then a space. And so Excel now, because I took the tick out of that box, is treating the comma and the space as boundaries where there needs to be a new column. So if I tick that box again now, you'll see there are just 3 columns for information in my preview, and the comma and space tick boxes have been set so that Excel knows where to split the text based on those items, and if there's a comma and a space next to each other, they're treated as one delimiter. So that's it. If I just click on Finish Now, that separates my list into 3 separate columns for each element in the information.
Yippee!